Hi guys, it's Nick here. Just wanted to make another video. I find these to be really fun. And this time I wanted to be like a little bit more informative. Try to talk from from my own personal memory, what I've been through, blah blah blah. And so I was like, well, what should I talk about? What should I talk about? And I was like, you know what? Let me just post a video, like reflecting on my 4 years at Tottenville High School. So Tottenville High School is a school that's in Staten Island, New York. It's a pretty huge school. It's pretty big compared to most other high schools, I feel. Um, I went there in 2010 as a freshman. Immediately I walked in, I thought it was going to be the coolest thing. I thought we were going to have lockers. I thought we were going to be able to store our shit in our lockers, and it was going to be all like they show in the movies and yeah, like TV shows. Of course, schools have lockers, and you meet someone by their locker. Hey, what's up? Absolutely not. No. You'll walk through that school and see that most lockers have deadbolts bent so that you can't even open them. It's the stupidest thing. Such a waste of space. I have no idea why. I mean, maybe it's because they have like 4,000 kids running through that school, and they don't have enough room, except for the people in band. They give them their special lockers, and you know, the sports teams get their own little part of the locker room. But yeah, so it's nothing like a high school you would have seen in like a movie or something like that. Not at all. When you go from class to class, you have 4 minutes to get from one class to another. Half the teachers that I had didn't care if I was coming from gym, which you gotta rush yourself to get dressed in a room full of frickin' tons of guys and stuff like that. Um, and then be able to get your ass out and go to the opposite end of the school, whether it be the D wing, the E wing is even worse. Um, Traffic in that school is really, really bad. When it comes to like the kids, I remember like when I was in freshman year, I had gym class, general boys gym was what they were calling it, with a lot of strangers, nobody I went to junior high with. And I became friends with this kid who was getting picked on because a lot of people were picking on me. And so I made friends with someone else who was also being called names. It was this kid, Chris. He had this little bit of a high-pitched voice because I guess puberty hadn't set in yet. So all the boys in the class had him nicknamed Squeaks, and they relentlessly made fun of the poor kid. And I remember this one time we were in the locker room, and he had the locker right behind me. So my back is, our backs are facing one another, and I don't see him, but I'm changing, and then I'm turning around, and I'm just like witnessing like these other like kids in our class just pulling his gym shorts down. He's trying to get changed. Like they're constantly pulling his underwear down, and he's like screaming, "Stop, stop. Like leave me alone. Stop." They were legit bullying this kid really hardcore, and I felt so bad for him. And that touches upon one of the bigger problems when it comes to that school, Tottenville. There is not enough supervision. Um, the locker rooms, well, I don't know what the girls' locker room is like, but the boys' locker room, maybe if you're lucky, you'll have 2 staff members in that boys' locker room. But you know where they'll be? They'll be by the exits to the hallway to make sure that nobody leaves for their class before the bell rings for passing. So it's a really bad place. Like, the locker room was I hated the locker room. I waited till everybody got changed and left before I did my thing, because people are fucking crazy. And when there's no eyes on you, you know, that school's full of, well, a lot of junks. Not full of them, but there's a lot of junkies in that school. Weirdos. What else? I had to testify against my Spanish teacher that I had in freshman year too. That was hilarious. It just goes to show, there's this one teacher who sent a risque lingerie photo to a student who had graduated, but then it got back. He sent it to someone, and it got back to everybody, and she got fired, and probably lost her whole career if she didn't go to some other borough and work as a teacher there. There was, oh yeah, another English teacher too, that was there when my sister went there, who shot her husband to dead. I mean, this school, honestly, if you have the pick to go somewhere else that's a little farther from home, and it's not your zoned school, I really urge you not to go with what's closest to your house, and instead choose a different high school. Because this school, Tottenville, coming from somebody who is bullied really harshly. I'm openly gay, but in high school, it took until sophomore year for me to be actually bi-curious. I hadn't done anything, so I couldn't say I was gay. And I had seniors, I had juniors, I had people like older than me just bullying the shit out of me. And you know what would happen if I was to go and talk to someone about it? Two things. One, I would be told, just ignore them. Ignore it. Ignore it. Ignore it. So here I am getting bullied day after day, and I'm being told, oh, ignore it, by administration. That's pretty much the common protocol, from what I recall when I went there, when it came to, reporting an act of bullying. And this was before and after the girl jumped in front of the train, Felicia Garcia. I mean, I don't know what the story was with her or anything like that, but I heard like she was bullied, or someone, not bullied, but someone did something that really, really was horrible to her, and she committed suicide. And I mean, it's just so sad that they don't take bullying more serious. Because I've been in therapy. I graduated from that hellhole in 2014. I've been in therapy trying to get past some of the things that were said to me in my classes. And just we touched upon the locker room. Now let's get to the cafeteria. There's 2 cafeterias. One is called the small caf. One's called the big caf. Small caf is for the freshmen, I think. Just the freshmen, or maybe the freshmen and the sophomores, I'm not sure. And the large caf is for the upper graduates. So like, not upper grads, but upperclassmen. The SO office is in there, aka where people who are popular and on sports teams cut class and just sit in. Which, there's a hut where people smoke cigarettes. I didn't really spend much time in in either of those cafeterias, just because when you're in either of those cafeterias, you're on your own for good. and basically they have aides standing by the exit so that you can't just freely exit. It's awful. I mean, you have to ask someone at the door, "Oh, can I round the corner and go to the bathroom?" during your lunch hour. I mean, it's crazy. And then I saw on SI Live like last year or whatever, like someone was in a chokehold and taken to the ground, and it was videotaped, and there was nobody on that tape that jumped in that was part of staff. I mean, it's so sad. It's really sad. And I never opened myself up to staying in that room for the 46 minutes that my lunch period was, because I just knew I was going to either get bullied, I would have no one to sit with, or it was too much of a risk. So I ended up just finding elsewhere to sit, counseling office and whatever, the guidance counselors like office, but they cracked down on that. You're not allowed to sit in there anymore. Um, Now the classrooms. Okay. The classrooms, it really depends on what teachers you get. I highly recommend you check Rate My Teachers, RATE, My Teachers, and see if you got a good teacher or a really bad one. Like, for example, I got in senior year a really awful, like, U.S. history teacher, or, yeah, U.S. history teacher. Um, he very in your face, very snappy, and he liked to make me the example of like the class. A few people would be chit chatting around the class, and it's quiet time, but I'm the one called out for it. I mean, it was really hard to be picked on, and finally, thankfully, there was another student in the class that had issues with me. So, I was like, yo, this kid's violent. I'm not going to stay in this class. If there's another U.S. history class during this period, I want it. And I got transferred out, and it worked out great. It was really good. I think I got Mr. Newman. Really, really nice guy. Um, when it comes to the dean's office, I have limited sort of knowledge of what goes down there. Basically, if something big happens, you're brought to the dean's office. So that means physical altercations. Um, I guess in things that are being investigated. Issues and stuff, reports. I've written tons of statements because of my years of bullying, tons of statements. But here's one thing that you really have to know. If you're like me, or if you get into any sort of fight or argument or anything like that, they have this program. I don't know if they still have it, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't do away with it. That was really, really bad, especially for someone like me with anxiety. They would pretty much force you. They wouldn't tell you that you had the option to not partake in their peer mediation program, but you have the option to not partake in that. And what happens in that program is there's one person, maybe there's a dean as well, but it's usually this one woman, Miss Duval or something like that, and she sits there and tries to act like a mediator. And you're sitting on one side of the room, and then the person that you have a problem with, or they have a problem with you, is sitting across from you. And you're supposed to talk it out and hash it out instead of someone's making your life hell and you're trying to get them to stop, but instead you're being made to sit down in front of this person and hear them spew lies or whatever. And then they make you sign a little paper contract that is, I agree not to look at John. I agree not to call Joey a fat ass. I mean, it really is a dumb program, in my opinion, but you have to know that you are not, it's not compulsory. You don't have to partake in that. And my advice to anybody getting bullied is don't. Don't do it. Write out your statement and don't sit in front of that bully. Make sure you are clear with what's going down. You keep everybody up to date when it happens. Don't wait a few days and then say, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna let it, it was a one-time thing." No, if someone's treating you like ass and the year is 2017, you need to do something about it. Maybe in 2014, when I was a senior and I was finally comfortable with myself, things were a little bit better. But now bullying is a national topic, and there are people who have killed themselves as a result of bullying. And this school does not go about it in the best way it could, which is sad. It's really sad because I feel as though they could, but due to lack of proper training or lack of sufficient staff, they just go with this sick program, the peer mediation program, or they send you to the school, I don't know, social worker or whatever, and you talk about it there. Which is cool if you feel like missing a gym class once a week, you get to do that and talk to the social worker. Regarding changing your classes, they got it really strict when I left, but when I left, my principal was there for like 1 year and then he left. So I had two Monaro and then I had this one guy, and now it's this new guy, Scarmechi or something like that. But I think that it is really, really important um, to be able to voice and speak up for yourself, because that school is so gigantic with the amount of population of students there are, and you'll notice that it's very cliquey. I'm being real. This isn't racist at all. This is total observation from 4 years in that school. Sports jocks and all the popular crowd, the hot girls showing off their tits with the money, and they got the nice phones, they drive their cars, and then of course the opposite, the guys that are jocks or the good-looking perceived ones, or they just come from money. They stick together. Um, the cheerleading squad and the SO office, all of those people, they all stick together and they get away with murder. Um, the band geeks, and I say that with love. They pretty much own like the D wing, the first floor D wing. It's like going towards the E wing. Like they act like they're better than you. Like it's very very clicky, very clicky. It's weird, and they get away with a lot too. They cut class on the reg. Well, when I was there, they would cut class on the reg just sitting there in the hallway, like by the auditorium doors on the side. Now, to finish this up, I'll just talk briefly on the infamous E-Wing. So, when I went there, I had heard stories from two of my siblings who had also gone to that school, and they were about this part of the school called the E-Wing. And I was pretty excited and interested to see what this E-Wing was all about, because some salacious things seem to happen in the E-Wing. Nowadays, the E-Wing is just automotive class, and the first floor E-Wing is like quite really quiet, and there's nothing really there except for like auto, and that's it. And then two exits, one to the teacher's parking lot and one to the side gate, like yeah, the side, whatever that is, Island Street. And so, but in my time there, I only caught one salacious thing happening, and that was on the sides of the auditorium. There's two staircases that it's not part of the auditorium, but they're on the sides. They're kind of off of. There's two hallways to get to the E wing, uh, which are part of the D wing, the band wing, and then the sort of like administration counseling wing. You get down there, and there's this little staircase that leads up to the second floor or continues downward towards the E wing. And in one of those staircases, I was just walking around with the hall pass. You know, back then they were plastic and people were collecting them like freaking Pokemon cards. Um, and I was sneaking up on like the door to one of them. I was walking along the E-wing hallway, and it's quiet on the first floor, and I heard noises. Dirty noises, sexual noises. And so I end up peeking my little eye into the window on the door, and I catch this Puerto Rican dude standing up against the wall getting head from this Asian kid, Jesse, and it was just it was like perfect. It was like finally I got something real to like actually say about the E-wing. It's not just where the fucking people prop open the door for their cigarette breaks. Oh, the E-wing is saturated with security cameras. The whole school is, by the way. So don't think that you can get away with anything, because every fucking staircase in the E-wing, every corner of each hallway. I mean, cameras everywhere, everywhere. Lunchroom, not in the locker room. Um, but yeah, that was really funny actually to see two guys exchanging blowjobs. And I stumbled upon them and didn't get caught. I caught them, but they didn't catch me. And that's funny. I actually knew of them when I caught them. All right, yeah, and I'll wrap this video up. So bottom line, yeah. Honestly, if you have anxiety or you have social problems or you have depression, um, or if you just don't fit into the cliques that you find there at Tottenville, and you want to go to a school that has staff that truly does care about you instead of just getting whatever the situation is out of the way as quick as possible, you should definitely seek out other schools to go to. Um, yeah, and that's really it. All of my opinion. Don't take any of this as like fact, except for like what's about the school. And God, I don't even know who's there anymore, but I would give shout outs, but half my favorite teachers are gone. I'll give the opposite of a shout out. Shame out to this particular math teacher. This guy knows who he is. Skinny frickin' dickwad. Oh my god. Horrible, man. Great teacher is Mr. Spurge. If you get him for global, you got a lucky ass good teacher. Spurge, you're the man. Okay, done. Thank you for watching, and good luck in all your endeavors, and feel free to leave a comment or don't. See you soon. Bye.